Good morning, and welcome to All Faith Unitarian Congregation's Sunday service. Today is December 6th. I am the Reverend C.J. McGregor, and I will lead our service this morning. Here at All Faiths, we want you to know that you can bring your... Here at All Faiths, you will find a diverse and inclusive spiritual community where we welcome people with many different beliefs. You can bring your whole self, your full identity, your questioning mind, and expansive heart. At All Faiths, we have more than one way of experiencing the world and understanding the sacred. And no matter who you are, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, and no matter whom you love, you are always welcome here. I do have a few announcements this morning. Don't forget to look at the calendar in your newsletter. After the service this morning, we have coffee hour at 11:30 on Zoom. On Monday, December 7th, we will have an Odyssey at 6:30 p.m. on Zoom with Vanessa Gilliard. So please watch your email for more information. On Tuesday, Teaching Tuesday, at 1 o'clock, we will be having a conversation with the Lee County LGBTQ Democratic Caucus. So please tune into that Zoom conversation. On Thursday, December 10th, we will be having another coffee hour at 11:30, and on December 10th, Hanukkah begins, and we'll be celebrating Hanukkah in our service next Sunday. There is also a Solos Zoom extravaganza. It's a holiday lunch at 1 o'clock on Saturday, December 12th. So make sure to check your email for for that announcement. And every Sunday at 9 a.m. we have a Zoom conversation, news talk, where we discuss issues in the world. Please watch for that. Also, we are collecting food, non-perishable food, for a local food bank as hunger is on the rise and food banks are struggling with providing for people in our community. So if you'd like to, please drop off your non-perishable food items in the box labeled on the porch. That would be greatly appreciated. Let us now sing hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Please join in reciting the words for our chalice lighting that are printed in your order of service, and then I will light the chalice. Fire consumes and casts a bright light. May our chalice flame consume our regrets for the past, our fears about the future, and our worries about today. May it light for us a path of joy and peace. We ask that our youths join us for the entire service today. There is no religious education class. When we are together, we share our joys and sorrows that we have felt with the congregation. And even as we are apart, we can still do that. If you'd like to share a joy or sorrow with the congregation, please get that to me and I will be glad to share it during our Sunday service. We have a few joys and sorrows. Please keep Jan Guardiano in your heart, who has recently tested positive for COVID-19. We also want to keep the family of Janine Martin, who died on November 29th, in our hearts, and also keep her friends in this congregation in your thoughts. Jennifer and Nicole McDaigle would like you to keep their family in your thoughts as they received some health news about their daughter Quillen. So please keep them in your thoughts. And now let us sing hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. Move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
As we prepare our hearts and minds for the service, let us join in a few moments of silence.
Jeremiah was a bullfrog. He was a good friend of mine. I never understood a single word he said, but I helped him drink his wine. He always had some mighty fine wine. Singing joy to the world, all the boys and girls. Joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea, and joy to you and me. If I were the king of the world, tell you what I do. I'd throw away the cars and the bars and the wars, and I'd share some love with you. Joy to the world, all the boys and girls now. Joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea, and joy to you and me. Singing joy to the world, the boys and girls now. Joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea, joy to you and me. I love the ladies. I love to have my fun. I'm a high flyer and a rainbow rider, straight shooting son of a gun. Yeah, straight shooting son of a gun. Singing joy to the world, the boys and girls now. Joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea, joy to you and me. Joy to the world, all the boys and girls now. Joy to the fishes in the deep blue sea, joy to you and
I love Christmas, but I love it in a quiet, unobstructive, unobtrusive way that often makes people think that I'm being unfestive. I don't drop and roll in a puddle of glitter and sequins every time I go out. And the idea of Christmas shopping makes me break out into a cold sweat, and you will never see me in an energy-sapping mall, especially this time of year. Despite being so thoroughly unfestooned, I love a great many things about Christmas. I love Christmas films, the joy of rewatching them for the 18th time and quoting along, enjoying that most peculiar festive delight, such as the bit in Gremlins where they put one of the little monsters in the blender. I love Christmas markets, drinking mulled wine and piling the sofa with blankets after the sun goes down at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I love baking with piles of cinnamon and ginger and making the whole house smell of warmth. Making ginger snaps, shortbreads, and pork pies. There are a few holiday traditions that my family will keep this year despite the pandemic. I want to share one of my favorites with you this morning. Around this time each year, we listen to and read the Santaland Diaries by author David Sedaris. Sedaris happens to be one of my favorite authors because he can take the most mundane parts of life and spin them into stories of hilarity. His dark sense of humor reaches me and amuses me. So I want to share a piece of the Santaland Diaries with you. If you think you're stressed during the holidays, just think about trying to be one of Santa's elves. And it turns out that being surrounded by children and tinsel and merriment isn't all that it's cracked up to be. David Sedaris tells us about the downside of holiday joy as a somewhat flawed Macy's elf. And his name is Crumpet. And I invite you to get comfortable and simply listen as David Sedaris reads part of the Santaland Diaries.
I wear green velvet knickers, a forest green velvet smock, and a perky little hat decorated with spangles. This is my work uniform. I have spent the last several days sitting in a crowded, windowless Macy's classroom undergoing the first phases of elf training. You can be an entrance elf, a water cooler elf, a bridge elf, train elf, maze elf, island elf, magic window elf, usher elf, cash register elf, or exit elf. We were given a demonstration of various positions in action, acted out by returning elves who were so on stage and goofy that it made me a little sick to my stomach. I don't know that I could look anyone in the eye and exclaim, "Oh my goodness, I think I see Santa." Or, "Can you close your eyes and make a very special Christmas wish?" Everything these elves say seems to have an exclamation point on the end of it. It makes one's mouth hurt to speak with such forced merriment. It embarrasses me to hear people talk this way. I think I'll be a low-key sort of elf. 22,000 people came to see Santa today, and not all of them were well-behaved. Today I witnessed fistfights and vomiting and magnificent tantrums. The back hallway was jammed with people. There was a line for Santa and a line for the women's bathroom. And one woman, after asking me 1,000 questions already, asked, "Which is the line for the women's bathroom?" And I shouted that I thought it was the line with all the women in it. And she said, "I'm going to have you fired." I had 2 people say that to me today. "I'm going to have you fired." Go ahead, be my guest. I'm wearing a green velvet costume. It doesn't get any worse than this. Who do these people think they are? I'm going to have you fired. And I want to lean over and say, "I'm going to have you killed." The overall cutest elf is a fella from Queens named Richie. His elf name is Snowball, and he tends to ham it up with the children, sometimes tumbling down the path to Santa's house. I generally gag when elves get that cute, but Snowball is hands down adorable. You want to put him in your pocket. Yesterday, Snowball and I worked as Santa elves, and I got excited when he started saying things like, "I'd follow you to Santa's house any day, Crumpet." It made me dizzy, this flirtation. By mid-afternoon, I was running into walls. By late afternoon, Snowball had cooled down. By the end of our shift, we were in the bathroom, changing our clothes, and all of a sudden, we were surrounded by 5 Santas and 3 other elves. All of them were guys that Snowball had been flirting with. Snowball just leads elves on. Elves and Santas. This morning I worked as an exit elf, telling people in a loud voice, "This way out of Santaland." A woman was standing at one of the cash registers, paying for her pictures while her son lay beneath her, kicking and heaving, having a tantrum. The woman said, "Riley, if you don't start behaving yourself, Santa's not going to bring you any of those toys you asked for." The child said, "He is too going to bring me toys, liar. He already told me." The woman grabbed my arm and said, "You there, elf. Tell Riley here that if he doesn't start behaving immediately, then Santa's going to change his mind and bring him coal for Christmas." I said that Santa changed his policy and no longer traffics in coal. Instead, if you're bad, he comes to your house and steals things. I told Riley that if he didn't behave himself, Santa was going to take away his TV and all his electrical appliances and leave him in the dark. The woman got a worried look on her face and said, "All right, that's enough." I said, "He's going to take your car and your furniture and all of your towels and blankets and leave you with nothing." The mother said, "No, that's enough. Really." This afternoon I was stuck being photo elf for Santa Santa. Santa Santa has an elaborate little act for the children. He'll talk to them and give a hearty chuckle and ring his bells, and then he asks them to name their favorite Christmas carol. Santa then asks if they'll sing it for him. The children are shy and don't want to sing out loud, so Santa says, "Oh, little elf, help young Brenda here sing that favorite carol of hers." Late in the afternoon, a child said she didn't know what her favorite Christmas carol was. Santa suggested "Away in a Manger." The girl agreed to it, but didn't want to sing because she didn't know the words. Santa said, "Oh, little elf, come sing Away in the Manger for us." It didn't seem fair that I should have to solo, so I sang it the way Billie Holiday might have sang if she'd put out a Christmas album. Away in a manger, no crib for a bed, the little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head. Santa did not allow me to finish. This evening I was sent to be a photo elf. Once a child starts crying, it's all over. The parents had planned to send these pictures as cards or store them away until the child is grown and can lie, claiming to remember the experience. Tonight I saw a woman slap and shake her crying child. She yelled, "Rachel, get on that man's lap and smile or I'll give you something to cry about." Then she sat Rachel on Santa's lap and I took the picture, which supposedly means, on paper, that everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be, that everything is snowy and wonderful. It's not about the child or Santa or Christmas or anything, but the parents' idea of a world they cannot make work for them.
I hope you enjoyed that. That never gets old for me. While humorous, there is an important message that we can glean from this story. After the young girl is finally placed on Santa's lap and her photo is taken, Sedaris tells us everything is exactly the way it is supposed to be. That everything is snowy and wonderful. It's not about the child. It's not about Santa. It's not about anything. He tells us it's about the parents' idea of a world they could not make work for them. A parent's idea of a world they could not make work for them. The idea that it's about a world that we can't make work for us. And Sedaris has offered a story for cynical people, and aren't we all peaking cynics at the moment during this pandemic? Sedaris sends us holiday spirit from the front lines. Sedaris has held the mirror of satire and comedy up for us to see what we have done to our Christmas season in the name of unrelenting commerce. And we laugh, deservedly, yet deep down we know we are truly laughing at ourselves. He portrays the various workers in Santa Land, visitors, among them the parents intent on crafting their vision of a perfect Christmas for their less than willing kids. And I wonder, do you long for perfection these days? Do you yearn for the flawless and without the possibility of failure or change this season or this time in our lives? If so, your pursuit of perfection might reveal a prominent imperfection. There are times when we need things to be perfect or near perfect, such as when constructing a bridge or performing surgery. falling short of exacting specifications can spell danger in those situations. And during this pandemic season, it is not time for normalcy or perfection. We need to let go. We need to let go and simply be right now. An attachment to normalcy and perfection demonstrates a lack of self-compassion and wisdom. Our failure to embrace this terrible time as reality and accept it for what it is, with its joys, its sorrows, and imperfection, leads to a rigid sense of self that shatters easily when everything falls short of our unrealistic expectations. Our emotional health requires gentleness toward ourselves as we embrace inevitable limits. We can find satisfaction in simply doing our best, but this doesn't mean that things need to be perfect. We can't control life in all of its complexity. Remember that we can't control life in all of its complexity. Moving toward a season of fulfillment and meaning requires us to abandon our ideas of what we think things should be, and making the best of our reality, to go with the flow, some might say. It takes a sturdy sense of self to be flexible enough to take life in stride. And when our self-worth and value are tied to our ideas of normalcy and perfection, we take a hard fall when we fall short of our expectations. We become more resilient as we replace the aspiration for perfection with a humble desire to learn and to grow from our experience. And let's face it, whether we celebrate Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, or the solstice, we will arrive nowhere near celebrating this season as we typically do. If we try, we risk our health, our sanity, and our quest for balance. We will keep bumping into that wall that stands in our way, trying to make a world that works for us, making the perfect holiday. And bumping into a wall over and over again brings us bruises, bumps, and massive headaches. Instead, we accept the wall as temporary. Accept the wall as temporary and embrace our present reality, knowing that there will soon be a door in that wall. So, let us celebrate this season in all of its imperfection. Let us practice self-compassion, acceptance, patience, our creativity in making meaning, and let us be grateful. Let us be grateful that we are not crumpet. May it be so. I'd like to thank all of you for your generosity. It allows us to be in the community and live our mission, and to pay our staff and to support our ministries. If you're watching this service from far away, we need your support as well. So please make a donation to the congregation. You can do so by mailing it to the address or going to our website that is printed on your screen. The morning offering will be given and gratefully accepted. As we fall headfirst into this holiday season, no matter how you celebrate or what you celebrate, we need to remind ourselves that during this time in our lives, there is no perfection. We don't seek perfection. We seek compassion for ourselves and for others, understanding, and we see the light at the end of the tunnel, which is hope, which this season is all about. Hope. Blessed be.
Oh, by gosh, by golly, it's time for mistletoe and holly. Tasty pheasants, Christmas presents, countryside's covered with snow. Oh, by gosh, by jingle, it's time for carols and Kris Kringle. Overeating, merry greetings from relatives who don't know. Then comes the big night, giving the tree a trim. You'll hear voices by starlight singing a Yuletide hymn. Oh, by gosh, by golly, it's time for mistletoe and holly. Still in a kiss or two as they whisper Merry Christmas to you.
I'd like to thank everyone who had a hand in bringing us this service this morning. Regina Kilmartin and the Sunday Services team for everything they do behind the scenes to bring this service together. I'd also like to thank Joseph for his beautiful music and wonderful voice that adds so much to our service. And I'd like to thank you for your generosity and your support of this congregation. Blessed be. Please join in the words printed in your order of service as I extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we hold in our hearts and out into the world. Skip that. Please join in the words printed in your order of service as I extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world.
Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you.